evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of No Limits. I have no limits with my voice, although there'll probably be more limits on it than most people think tonight because I open the first segment, I'll let the crew take over the rest, and then I button it up to the end and actually try to do something I'm not used to doing. Shut up, motor mouth, so that what the experts take care of it. Yeah, do I just tell myself to shut up? Yeah, more times than most people think, even though nobody's around here at home when I'm by myself all day thinking about it because it's just me, the walls, and the two cat fucking boots. Although I don't see them a whole lot either until Candy gets back and they're begging for food. Okay, with that said, let me introduce the crew. Obviously, we have our continuing study on CTE, but we take it to a different level, and we're dealing with the Military and Veterans Day themes, talking about brain injury and CTE. With that said, Candy Evelyn, welcome back.
Thanks, Scott. It's great to be here.
And Jennifer, welcome back.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
And William, you gets me twice tonight. The low keyed version early and then the high keyed version later. William Person, can you handle everything you're gonna get hit with tonight?
We'll find out. We'll find out.
Confidence is a beautiful thing when you say yes. Okay, it's a beautiful thing.
But I'm not sure. I have to make sure.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I run quite a show, a wild southeast here on 9 o'clock on the Sports Exchange. I have a wild crew lined up today. Don't you dare miss it, as they used to say in the Big Ten, the wrestling circles back in the day. Don't you dare miss it. That was what they used to say, big time wrestling back then. Well, I don't know if we have any shows pertaining to wrestling on. When it comes to this, you never know. We'll think of something else, as Apollo Creed would say. What Stallion? You know me, Stallion. I'm thinking something else. Apollo Creed, Rocky. There you have it. All right. Let's get to the Veterans Day theme. Why should I be a veteran? I got 63 years old. I show it, and I collect Social Security. I was once too old to go ahead and join the Army. When I met Tom Lasorda, I said, Tommy, I'm a veteran. I should go in there. But no, they rejected me. I'm too old. Yeah, but I'm a veteran, no? Say, no, I know that. Yeah, age restrictions when you're 18, 20, that's when they want you. Otherwise, you're stuck out here with me. But I know you do good there, Scotty. Tommy Lasorda, everybody, in the book. All right, let's get back to Veterans Day. Military focus. All right, I'll put it out there. What makes you think so many veterans are battling CTE and other brain injuries like you are, William?
You say, why do I think so?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm glad you asked that question.
I'm glad I asked it too.
I've had to live this thing. I've lived it. I had to live with it it's like I had to live the perfect life for this thing to come full circle. From me knowing about mental health, from working in mental health, to watching the athletes start to suffer. And along that way, like I met a lot of military guys. So I had a lot of love for the military guys. One of my teammates who took his life, he was my driver in the World Championship, Stephen Holcomb. He's won every Olympic medal for the men's side since 2003. And he took his life at the training center. And he was always so good to me. And so as I started seeing the symptoms line up with, like from the veterans, the football athletes, the bobsledders, all the symptoms are the same. So this last weekend, I was working on putting together a graph that shows that. I think like something's telling me like the world is not connecting the dots. And I'm just trying to connect those dots so we can get everybody some help. And the other strange thing I just realized, looking at that chart right there, if you look at the middle, Parkinson's, suicides, depression, TBI, CTE, there's quite a few more things that can go in there, like the anxiety but it's almost like it's being swept under the rug a little bit. And I'm not sure if people are really connecting the dots. I've only connected them because, like, I see what their symptoms are. I know what my symptoms are, and I know how I rebounded, how I got up off that floor. And like I said, I always give Joe Namath all that credit for it. Like, I didn't create this. I just followed what he spoke about, and it worked. And then I found there's pockets of companies all around the United States doing this. Like, one for the military is called treatnow.org. Like, there's people out here who know these things are working. And man, I did some research this weekend, and I knew there was a high suicide rate on our veterans, but I didn't know it was that high. Like, man, let me look at the real numbers here. For 2020, there was 6,278 suicides. For 2021, it was 6,392. And for 2022, 6,407 veterans took their life. And then I'm just blown away. I had no idea. I had no idea it was 20,000 veterans within 3 years took their life. And now that I know what the symptoms are, and I know how to rebound from this thing, like I wonder how many of those people could we have saved? How many? Like it's very simple treatment. If it's going to work, it's going to work. If it's not, then it's not. But it's you have to at least try. We have to at least try and get these people the help that they need.
So let
So
me go. I'm
oh, go
sorry,
ahead.
Jen.
Go
So
ahead,
let,
Scott.
all right, so let's talk about the symptoms, how to identify and what to look for. And I'll go ahead and write this one, Jen, based on that outline. And you can incorporate after the last point. How does that sound, Jen?
Okay,
And then
sounds
I'll
good.
transition over here. So let's go back to the symptoms, how to identify what to look for.
Well, the best one is it's going to come from your loved ones because everybody's going to be a little bit different. And so,
Okay.
but what you have noticed is every NFL suicide or veteran suicide or our veterans that's doing the mass shootings, like all their loved ones said the same things. They were acting different than normal. So
Okay.
everybody's symptoms going to look a little bit different. But for me, mine was I thought I had adult ADHD. You hear that a lot. For a lot of us, we'll start having sleep apnea where you didn't have that problem before because there's something in the brain that does a shift. And matter of fact, when I went to do my sleep study, the lady didn't know my background, and I said, "Why does this stuff happen all of a sudden?" And she said, "Well, some people have like head injuries." And I was like, "Okay, need not say no more. I just don't waste your breath. I already know where you're going." She didn't know my situation. She was a tech, and so it's the same symptoms over and over: anxiety, depression.
So yeah, one of the, you were speaking with a former military person over the weekend, right? And you got a text from somebody. What did that text say? Like, what were some of the symptoms that this person was going through? They didn't have a brain injury.
Cloudiness.
What did they have?
Well, he had the cloudiness like me, and he said that, "Hey, wait a minute, I played football, now I'm in the military, now I'm having this cloudiness like you've been talking about. What can I do to get rid of this? How can you help me?" That's kind of what he was asking.
He was saying, what did he shot mortars or what was it that he
Yeah,
did?
yeah, I think it was something with the shooting of the guns. So if you look at all of the see the government's been well, put it this way, the military has been forthcoming with some of the information, like the people who are having the struggles, which is the pilots, anybody who shot the big artillery, or anybody who's around that thing where like something explodes in that wave. That wave is equivalent to repetitive head injuries. It's the same thing, And
Yeah.
as we know, most of our injuries it comes from practice. So if you're out there practicing shooting that gun, you're gonna get it. You're gonna get it. And so
He
we
said it was
know,
like repetitive micro traumas, right?
yeah,
With every
yeah,
shot.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I know exactly. Yeah, yep. So, but we do know about those guys. So we know it's the artillery guys. People who did work with artillery. Man, my speech is a little slurring a little bit, but yeah. And then we got our fighter pilots for sure, and the guys on those speedboats that the wave skippers. Those are the highest ones. Oh, and our aircraft carriers are number one. If you flew off of an aircraft carrier, it's that jolt when you're taking off or when they're stopping you, because that brain wants to keep moving, but that wire snatches you and pulls you back. That's all the same stuff. And so if you look at all those groups and talk to any of those people, you're gonna get to all the same symptoms over and over and over. And I think I've kind of connected some more dots on it. Like I was thinking about all my injuries. Anytime you pull a hamstring, there's a process to healing the body. So anytime you get any kind of injury, the fluid always rushes to that area to protect it.
Right.
So with the hamstrings, of course they're gonna, dig in it, make it cold. No, they do ice for 72 hours, then they do heat alternating, then they do electric stimulation. You might do acupuncture. And then at the very end, they always go in with the elbow and they dig into that little knot and they break up all the scar tissue in there. But what I realized is whenever you had brain issues, they don't do anything. So we sit here with a ticking time bomb in our country with anybody who's ever had a head injury, which is probably every boy and every American boy with the stuff that we be doing, like jumping off with bikes and jumping out of trees and falling out of trees and fighting, and so the issues, we just haven't dealt with them. And I think that's the problem that we're running into right now.
Mm-hmm. And those intense headaches, I think, are a key sign, right? Where like you talk about the headaches and the.
Well, last weekend, I ignored my headache. I knew it was coming, and I told people it was coming, and I just refused to do what I was supposed to do to make it go away. So that was on a Thursday. That sucker kicked in full time on Friday, Saturday, and 4:30 in the morning on Sunday. I went to the ER and I was getting a double IV bag, just because I ignored it, But those migraines are so dangerous because sometimes they lead to the aneurysms.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the scary. Whenever I get those headaches, that's the one thing I'm concerned about, aneurysm. Yeah,
I wouldn't blame you. I've heard a lot of things about those. All right, one more thing I'm going to ask. I'm going to turn over to Jennifer and Candy. How do brain injuries tend to happen in the military, and which jobs or activities tend to lead to this? It's a two-part question. After I get done with asking these questions, I'll turn and William answer those directly as they ask you, and then I'll let Jennifer and Candy take over.
Oh, so you said which jobs in the military?
Okay, so here, how do brain injuries tend to happen in the military, which is the first part of it, and the follow-up is which jobs or activities tend to lead to this?
Well, from what I understand, like I don't know all the military jobs. I know the ones that people have been reaching out to me, and I know what they were doing. So it's all our military guys who do all the shooting. If you're around anything that explodes, you feel a wave that hit you in the face, it was doing the damage to you. Fighter pilots, anybody who's doing bank turns, they have it, probably dealing with it the worst. Especially our aircraft carrier guys, people that take off and land on those aircraft carriers. And then the one that got me caught me off guard is the guys who want the little skipper boats, the little Coast Guard boats that just bounce but they're going like 200 miles an hour on the water. They have it really bad too. So, but I've also met some people who do the parachute. They jump out of the planes. They just said every time they land, they were always hitting their heads, So it's a lot of different things in the military. You can, unless you were the cook, more likely you probably were around all this stuff.
Yeah, it's the micro traumas, the like you attribute to shaking baby syndrome, as well as big blasts, as well as actually hitting your head. So, because people think I didn't have a brain injury. I never got hit in the head, or I never, but it's all the combination of those things. It's the jarring of the brain inside the head.
I'm at the point in my life where I've had so many, like if somebody rear-ended me, I'm gonna get a whip. I'm gonna get a concussion from just whiplash. So yeah, we all deal with it, and everybody's body is a little bit different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the paratroopers, like you said, there's a couple of different opportunities with the paratroopers, the skydivers, the people who are jumping out with. So it could be if they got a hard opening, right? Even just with their parachute, let alone they're landing with all that gear on them and all that stuff. And if they, go to do a PLF, which is a parachute landing fall, and they end up hitting their head.
Did you go PLF on us? Where you get that one from?
Parachute landing fall. Skydiving was my sport for a while. So
well, hey, wait! You're getting into that. I'm getting involved with this one. I have a picture here in my office when I did parasailing. People, parasailing. This is the one time. Well, it really wasn't nice when it started that way.
Yeah.
I was. Let me tell you. My sister-in-law Jeanette vowed to never do it after I got done with my first act. They didn't want to see the second one. So get this. This is story time. And then after this segment, Candy does a station break. And then Jen and Candy will take care of mass murders and high military. But now I'm pulling this one. You're bringing up parachutes? Really? Seriously? Really? All right, here. Yeah, so let's go back in time here when I was younger, way younger than this. And I go to Acapulco, Mexico. Bad enough I didn't know how to say senior right. I said, hey, senior, I need to get some information, senior. And she's let my sister-in-law in there laughing so hard, man. No, Scott, it's senior. I like it my way better because everybody's laughing at me. I mean, at this point, I haven't had a sense of humor when I was way younger than I am now. So I have her, my brother, and another friend. His name is Ronnie Grant, and my brother went there to see me do parasailing. Well, get this. I go way up there, and I'm telling you, this is the most interesting experience I've ever seen in my life, man. Now, as I come down, I didn't understand the instructions how to go ahead and release this stupid thing so I can make a decent landing. I'm thinking, listen, one or two things is going to happen here. Either I'm going to land on land, or I'm going to do the best damn cannonball I could come up with. And I couldn't release that stupid thing. I said, well, I'm going for the cannonball trick instead. I conceded here. I'm 350 feet up there. I mean, up there in Acapulco, people. And I'll tell you, that was the most fun cannonball in the world. I tell you, I knew I was planning for that cannonball. And yeah, I hit my head pretty hard, but that wasn't too bad. So I go up there and buckle my knees up. You know, this is as good as that. Well, I like my hard-boiled egg for 3 minutes, which was bad a few weeks ago. And now my parasailing experience even tops that situation. I knew I was going down. I could see everything around me. And I landed right in the middle of the water. And I got help to get out of there. They were yelling at me. I don't know what you're saying, but here you go. And then my brother and my sister-in-law, God, what did you just do? I said I had a heck of a time. She then says to me, I'm never doing this after watching you again. So, I mean, you know, this is parasailing. Well, you did it. So, you know what? Because of what she just said in that situation, I had to challenge myself. You know, I didn't do this very good the first time, so I decided, I asked them if they want to go on. We're going. So I did it deliberately to go again and do this activity. And I did land barely right on the shore because I figured it out the second time. Oh boy, that was one big splash and one big cannonball. And to this day, even though I have Alzheimer's, I'm still talking about it. And now I got an attentive audience willing to listen to me. Holy moly, great stuff. All right, Candy. Any thoughts before you turn it over to Candy for a station break, Jen? I can't imagine that would.
I'm just glad you survived that.
I'm
glad you survived it.
Yeah,
I got something we got to add to that.
Okay.
Matter of fact, I'm so confident about the hyperbaric oxygen helping. I was speaking to a military. I mean, he wasn't a pilot, but he's a military guy from Great Britain, and he told me it's illegal for them to go deep sea diving in the UK. He said, but a lot of their pilots have a whole lot of issues, the same ones that we're talking about today. He said, and what they do, they go to this little island. And meanwhile, while he's telling me the story, we hadn't even discussed hyperbaric oxygen. He doesn't know anything about it.
William, can I ask you one question?
Yeah, absolutely.
How do you mess up a good story?
You had to have that part. You had to have that part.
This is a great story.
I'm just giving him a hard time. I'm giving a preview of what he's in for later. Go ahead. I'm just messing with you.
All right, now check this out. So what he said, okay, they take these pilots to this little island somewhere. And then he said they go down and they deep sea dive. They go down there for a long, long time. They just sit down there. He said for a long, long, long time. He was really exaggerating. A long, long, long. And I was getting goosebumps while he's telling me this story. And when he finished, I said, do you see that thing right here behind me? That's my hyperbaric chamber. Every time I get in it, it's called a dive. And so we are actually simulating the same thing. So the pilots in Europe are actually getting treatment by going diving, where we're doing it over here with the chamber. Mm-hmm. And it's just another confirmation that country's dealing with the same issues we're dealing over here. They're doing it by diving in the water. We're doing it by going in this thing. And I've just barely connected those dots a few days ago. It's slowly, I'm telling you, these pieces are coming, they're coming together.
We'll talk about the science behind that when Candy's done with her promo. Yeah.
All right, well, there you go. Station break. I take a break anyway for a couple segments. And then Jen and Candy and Will can take over. Go ahead, Can.
South Florida Tribune Publishing Company published a book, Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning into the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders. It is written by our host, Scott, the Motor City Madmouth Morganroth. Talks about his 40-plus years in the industry and how it has evolved. Old school media versus new school media. And for all of you sports fans out there, there's a picture of Scott with a young Muhammad Ali in the book. So go get the book to see the picture. Yes. Go get the book. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. There's also a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com, where there is a plethora of great content, so go check it out. If you like to listen to podcasts, you can Find us wherever you get your podcast. If you want to advertise, you can call Scott 954-304-4941. If you want to be a guest, you can always email us at southfloridatribune@gmail.com. And then if you see that red subscribe button in that lower right-hand corner, that means you have not yet subscribed to us. What are you waiting for? Just do it. Go subscribe to our channel and then turn your notifications on so that you're notified anytime we go live. Some great programming on the channel, so definitely turn on those notifications. And then partly the whole reason why we are doing this show tonight and every week that we do it, we are trying to help raise money so that we can give more treatment in the hyperbaric chamber. So William can, not me, because that's not my thing. That's William's thing. He's trying to help everybody. And so he wants to help people get there, to get to the treatment, give them treatment, all of that. So if you find it in your heart to extend that pocketbook, please do so. It's GoFundMe/93FF9C6E for those of you that are listening to it on the audio version. It's GoFundMe/93FF9C6E. Back to you, Scott.
No, actually, back to you, Candy. Candy and Jennifer are going to talk about mass murders and high military. Then when we get done here, if you want to reference that article that Jennifer sent, fine. Otherwise, Candy, you can put the link for people to do that on their own. And then Candy will talk about her takeaways and wrap up, and we'll get ready for the sports exchange after I go out there and continue to absorb everything I'm about to get hit with. And boy, there's a pun intended with that analogy. All right, I'm going to turn it over to two of the most beautiful women here, and that's Jennifer and Candy. Go ahead. Mass murders isn't beautiful, but you two are anyways. And high military and suicide rate. I'm turning over to you. Go ahead, Candy.
Go for it, Jen.
Thank you. Yeah, no, mass murdering is not anything beautiful at all. It's quite disturbing. It doesn't matter how many people are murdered. Murder is extremely awful. And it's one of the reasons that we're here talking about the connection between military veterans and CTE overall. And William has enlightened me so much to show the symptoms. William, we want to talk about what happened just this summer, and then we can back up into how you knew it was CTE and stuff like that.
Well, I've been looking at this thing so long and so hard because I've been forced to, but like I can kind of see it in people's eyes now. Like I can, if I have a talk with somebody out and they'll start talking out, I'll know if they're kind of off now. Like I can really see it. It's so predictable. It's so predictable. Matter of fact, was this summer we were talking? Was about 6-8 weeks ago? There was that mass shooting in New York, and so the next time I went to court, I was telling people that we got a problem that we have to get ahead of. So if you actually go on my TikTok channel, I was wearing a red Team USA shirt. My phone was going crazy that day, so I put a video out so my phone would stop ringing. And I told people, guys, we have to get ahead of this thing. There's going to be you can quote me, fact check me. I said, there's going to be a wave of military shooters coming, and we got to do something to get ahead of this. And so I told the judge that same day. And when I came out, I spoke to a few people on the courthouse steps, my publicist, there was a documentary producer, my girlfriend was there, and then a couple other people. That's the same thing I just said. I just repeated it. So 1 week later, we had a guy go into the bar in Anaconda, Montana. And he shot 4 people, and he went off hiding in the woods. And they caught him 1 week later. He was hiding in the woods like Rambo, just like the movie. They caught him 1 week later. As they caught him, an active military guy went on to his military base, and he shot up some of his comrades. I don't know if that's the right word to use right there, but he shot up some of the people on the base. And then 3 weeks later, we had another veteran go up to a Mormon church in Minnesota. And what he did is he burned up half the church. He set it on fire. Then he went around to the other side and he started shooting. So when they stopped him, there were still people missing. But they were using military tactics now. Like, that's what this is. And like everything I said was going to happen, it's already happening because this thing is so predictable. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say one of the things that you talked about was these military veterans are trained killers.
Yes.
They come
Yeah.
back, their brain gets confused.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on all of that? Like how it starts unraveling and then when they don't know who the enemy is, or you know what I mean? Where you're living in that confusion. Can you talk about that confusion, what you were living with?
Yeah.
Right. So how you
Yeah.
know how to relate it to what they might be going through.
Well, I was when I was going through that, my worst. I mean, I laid on the ground and I couldn't commit. Even though my teammates were committing suicide, I knew they were. I wanted to, but I couldn't leave that trauma for my family. I know what that is, and so I made a deal with God. Like, you just have to come get me, and then that's what it is. I said, it won't be so hard on my family if you come get me, because it's just my time. So every night I make that prayer. Every day I woke up, I was just not a happy guy. I was just like, because your brain, when you're in that, once it sneaks up on you, like I started with these random days of cloudiness. It was very random, and they slowly turned into random days of clarity. I was cloudy all the time, and when you get there, like I just gave up. Like I couldn't do anything. I was just, I felt like Mr. Magoo. I didn't want to drive my car anymore. I parked the motorcycle, and I just didn't want to hurt anybody else, you know. And once you just kind of give up. And so my brain was stuck in this loop. It was telling me every day, it's time to go. You got to get out of here. You know, everybody else is killing themselves. You can go too. And I think the biggest part that saved me, one, I didn't want to put that trauma on the family. That's number one. And then number two was I was a counselor. And I always taught people, like hundreds of people, I've taught this little trick I had. If today's a great day to commit suicide, tomorrow will also be a great day. So it always buys you one more day. And so that was stuck on loop in my head too the whole time. And it saved me. It spared me, and it until I found help. But the sad part is it took for too many friends to take their life before I figured it out. Yeah. And the biggest problem is you can't recognize it. You won't recognize it yourself. I'm sorry, go ahead, Jennifer.
Yeah, no. You were talking about, the military shooters. So you're seeing like the I think it was the Michigan or the Minnesota one. I think it was maybe, I forget which one. Montana, might have been the Montana one.
It was the
Where
first
his
one, yeah.
niece came on. Yeah, and his niece said, no, he didn't. He went into the military fine, and this happened while he was in the military, and he developed a mental health disorder, right? But he stayed in the military, and she said, and he came out a whole different person. And then there was a number of things that you related to, and you said, see, that brain injury.
Yeah, it was because they saying the same things over and over. Matter of fact, everybody say the same thing. They were fine, and they just began not to act like themselves, or they were gentle giant until they weren't anymore. Well, in fact, the last 8 NFL suicides, I believe it's the last 8 that I checked. Those guys were living separate from their wife. Everybody they go to separation because they're too, I won't say too dangerous, but I'm pretty sure if they're acting erratic, these women are, nervous for their own safety, so they leave. I get it. But the ones who did stay home with the family, he was usually living in the back room by himself, and the whole family just kind of just revolve around him and slide his food under the door kind of thing. Like it's the same thing over and over.
So I have a question for you, William, because you talk about that they're acting out of character, or they're different, they're acting different. What is that? I mean, and I know it's different for everybody, but as a innocent bystander, as a family member, like what does that what are some of the trigger points that might, is it all of a sudden something triggers them and their rage level goes from 0 to 60 where it never used to? Like what little things can, so they recognize it? Because just because someone acts out of character, I mean, they could be, I hate to say this, they could be taking drugs, they could be doing different things. What kind of might it be? So people recognize and say, hey, wait, this might be something more serious that we need to get checked out.
Well, usually it's that erratic behavior.
Okay.
Impulsivity. They doing things just like for me during COVID, I bought 4 cars because I just had to have these cars for some reason. Like the only thing that saved my butt, I should have lost my. Everybody needed cars, and they were paying more for cars used than they were brand new. So I always made my money back, but I wasn't doing it to sell cars. I just felt like I had to have this thing. And now my brain is fixated on, I gotta get this car, I gotta get this car. So I took the car I had to have, got an electric car, drove to St. Louis to see my family. Then I wanted to go see my kids in Utah. So I rented a Durango or SUV. And this was during COVID, nobody wanted to go in the hotel. So I slept in the back of the truck. I woke up, I was so refreshed. I was like, wow, now I need an SUV, And so got rid of the electric car. Now I got the SUV. It's just madness. I was just making poor decisions over and over. These football players, they're going broke when they get out the sport. And I believe this has a lot to do with it too, because I learned to put things in place for myself. And one of the things was like, I was an electrical engineering student, so I love math. Before I leave the house every day, I gave myself a math problem. If I couldn't solve the problem in my head, I knew on that day not to buy anything big, not to sign any contracts, and not to make any commitments. And so that became my life, just learning to live with this thing, because it will break you. It will break you.
Talk about, sorry. Go ahead,
I would
Candy.
think it would put a strain or a stress on like a relationship, like especially if like you were married, like all of a sudden to have, have to watch like every move they make, like you have to take control of the finances, like, because obviously, you're saying you're going to go out and buy cars, like not everybody can afford that, like especially in the military.
Nor could I.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Didn't stop me. Yeah.
But the social aspects as well, right? Like you kind of, you end up removing yourself from social activities. You might be angry a lot. You might be explosive in your personality, and not in a good way.
You become a recluse. Mm-hmm. We all do. And it's not even because we want to. It's just because we don't have that energy to get up and do something. Like I was living on the floor in my place, and I just didn't have the energy to go do anything. Like I used to go to a lot of parties at Jamie Foxx's house. Like I wouldn't even go there anymore. Like I'm staying home. I don't want to go. I don't. Yeah. But
and talk about your sleep patterns.
Man, you know what? When our first symptoms was kicking in when I left Team USA, I was dealing with the people that own Patron. This guy named Bill Schaefer. I had Jamie Foxx had this song come out, it was like Blame It on the Alcohol. So I did product placement for those guys, right? And so Bill Schaefer, we just were on the phone talking all the time. He's the number one guy underneath Jean Paul, the guy who owns Patron, and Paul Mitchell. And he was telling me like, because I had insomnia, started with insomnia. I was just started chilling all night, and I was like, man, I just can't sleep. He was talking me down. We just having a good conversation. But I realized that's one of the things that really gets people. When first of all, you stop sleeping, then that brain starts doing something real funky because it's not getting the rest it needs. But then it was still early before a lot of my big symptoms kicked in, but it was the precursor. Because once you stop sleeping, now things get a little bit weird on you.
And when you first started dating Angela, what time were you waking up?
3
in the afternoon.
3 p.m. Yeah, because I had to keep a bottle of a thermos of either black coffee or Coca-Cola on the nightstand every night. Because I know if I didn't have it, I'm not getting up the next day. But I tell you what, even when it comes to, you mentioned relationships, I had these whiteboards on my wall because I knew every day when I woke up, I didn't know what the real day was. So I always had to check. So once I figured out the day, then I had to figure out what the month is. It was always January or August for some reason. It's a loop. Once again, it's that loop that your brain is stuck in. So once I do that, I'll go out to my living room. I had this 8-foot long whiteboards, like scrolls. And I set them in 3 sections, like work, doctor's appointments, and dates. And I needed one for dates because this is what I've figured out. This is how I figured it out. Like, let's say today is Monday, right? And you call me up like, hey, well, let's go have lunch on Tuesday. I'll be like, all right, yeah, sure. Sounds good. So it's going to be our first day. I'm supposed to meet you on Tuesday. So she goes to the place. It's the next day. It's Tuesday. She's calling me. I'm here. Where you at? I'm like, where you at? She said, I'm at the place. And I'm just thinking like, what are you doing there? And so what I realized, if you told me Tuesday's like a month away. I can't even see Tuesday. So if you tell me, meet me tomorrow, I'm going to be there every day on time. But for some reason, our clocks are off. Yeah, our clocks get switched up. And so those are the things, some of the symptoms you're dealing with.
Mhm.
And then you get to the point where you can't focus, especially when you stop sleeping.
Mhm.
So all these adults now believe they have adult ADHD. We're getting it at 40 and 50 years old. No, that's not really what's going on. I don't believe. I believe it's from the head trauma. Yeah. Yeah.
And let's circle back around to the high military suicide rates, and I mean, so now we've dealt with we dealt a little bit with the high suicide rates. Then we dealt a little bit with they're not always just suicide. Sometimes they're taking other people with them, or they're lost in confusion, and so they think that they don't know who the enemy is, right? So maybe they're taking people because they think it's their job, but here they are over here, not on job, so there's a lot. And Candy, if you want to bring some of those statistics back up again, because they are no joke. I mean, this is 523 service members died by suicide in just 2023 alone.
No, that number's not right.
No,
that number should be. Okay, well, no, I don't have 2023. I have 20. I stopped at 2022. I couldn't find 2023's numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
these are from what are the documents that they're from? Let me find that out, where we got these.
Because it was right around 6,400 for the first 3 years of that, for 2020, 2021, and 2022. So unless that number dropped down a little bit in 2023, I'm not sure.
So
well, go ahead.
The graphic I have up right now talks about the U.S. military suicide crisis, and it shows, if you can see the graph shows the percent of people that considered taking their life before they joined the military is the smaller, the light gray numbers. And like for the first one, it was 6%. And then the darker blue shows the percentage after since joining the military, and how it went from 6% to 31%. And the next one was 6% to 40%. The
Department of Defense suicide puts out the Department of Defense puts out a suicide event report. And so that one was from the annual report on suicide in the military. And there's another report where we got statistics from, which is, goodness, let me see where it's, it's somewhere. It's the purple one. Oh, I lost it.
Yeah, I found it in a few different places.
Candy, I sent it to, I don't know. Well,
and this one says the Department of Veterans Affairs estimates that there are more than 19 million Americans who are veterans. Over 10,000 veteran offenders were in the custody of the Federal Bureau of Prisons at the end of 2019, accounting for almost 6% of all inmates.
Wow. I never even looked at that part of it. That's disturbing.
Yeah, the other report is called the Crime in Armed Forces. And so both of those documents are online, and you can grab them, and it shows these graphs, these exact graph charts. And And I think the main point is recognize when something is off, that's the time to explore. Like they're making erratic decisions. They're just not acting like themselves. They're suddenly much grumpier, angry. And you're thinking, what did I do? But maybe the cognition doesn't seem quite right. Can't get up off the couch. Can't get up off the floor. Can't get up out of bed.
All those staring off into space.
What, staring off into space?
Man, that's the one that used to get me the most. I would be at work and I'll catch myself just doing this for no reason. I don't know what I'm thinking about. I don't know what I'm looking at. Then I'll catch myself like, what the hell was I doing? Yeah. I hated that one. I hated that one with a passion.
Vertigo was a bad one that you had.
Yeah, vertigo, migraines, but that
light
anxiety. Light sensitivity, sensitive to smells. Sensitive to sounds.
I was going to say sensitive to sound, because like when you're watching like a program on TV and how the commercials come up so much louder than the actual program.
Yeah. I went to the movies like 2 weeks ago. I literally had to take cotton balls and stick them in my ears.
Well, actually, what I
Yeah.
do in this situation is I just turn the volume off and put the TV back on. I mean, let's face the reality. I'm noise sensitive nowadays, and if I don't want to watch anything, I have limitations. I'm done. If the TV goes off or I don't want to watch the commercials, mute. There's that thing called mute. Okay, MUTE. Capitalize it, hyphenate it, whatever, and that's when it comes to noise. Mute. There you go. That's my 2 cents. Noise
That'll
and
do
mute.
it.
And
Good
by the
good
way,
sense.
you're
You try
talking.
muting that. You try muting that theater I was in. It's gonna be a
Yeah.
mutiny.
Yeah, well, let me tell you something. I'm the Italian stallion. You know me, I think it's something else, Apollo, and I'll say mute and noise. All right, continue.
All right. So, Candy, should we
Yeah.
go back to put up the GoFundMe again? And
Oh yeah.
the reason, and William opened this GoFundMe really so that he could raise the money to buy a medical grade hyperbaric oxygen chamber to open his own CTE recovery center where athletes, military, and civilians who are suffering with these symptoms can get help at no cost to them. Tell everybody why that's
Yeah.
important to you, William.
Well, it's important to me because the main reason is when the first time I tried a hyperbaric, it wiped my cloudiness off for 6 days, and I was clear for the first time in many, many years, maybe 10, 15, 20 years. I have to do the math, and then I went back the second time. They let me come back in for free because I was a Team USA athlete. And so second time I went back, I was clear for 9 days. Now I know this machine was working, but also I needed $20,000 to buy one, and I didn't have it. I had just bought a home. And so now I needed medicine. My medicine was that chamber, and I couldn't afford it. And so what I did is I eventually got so cloudy again, I forgot that thing existed. And I just kept telling myself, eventually I'll get the money and I'll be okay. But my dad wound up stepping up, saw what was going on, and he sent me the money to go purchase the machine. But like, man, it's like once you get over there and that cloudiness kicks in, you have no control. You forget. Like I was forgetting everything. Like people were reminding me of stories. I'd be like, oh wow, I forgot about that. I mean, really major things that happened to me in my life. But I tell you, it's just CTE is very unforgiving. And I always say it's the loved ones. The loved ones have to help you because they will not, the athletes, the victims, the veterans, they will not know what it is. They won't see it on themselves, and only you can be there to save them because we just can't see it. It's easy for us to see it in other people, but we can't see it in ourselves. And I've seen that over and over and over, starting with myself. Yeah.
And it's the helplessness, the hopelessness.
No, you get to the point where you're actually almost like you're not in a vegetative state or anything. But like if I'm with a group of my friends, I'm not going to be talking very much. I can participate if they ask me a question, but I just won't be coming up with things to talk about. I'll just kind of be faded. I'm like faded into the back of the room. And that's what this thing is. It's just, you're just holding on for dear life, and you don't know something's really that wrong. For me, like I said, I always thought it was diabetes, and I was so far from the truth. So far from the truth. Yeah.
And William, weren't you saying earlier that some of the veterans have been misdiagnosed with PTSD and some of these other ailments, and it's actually CTE or brain trauma that they really need to
Yeah. Well, they've actually admitted that a lot of the veterans do have CTE. They have been admitting that now. So it's not like it's not being hidden anymore. But in the past, it's been hidden. But also those same people also had a diagnosis of PTSD. So I really believe that PTSD is a misdiagnosis. It's really not a mental health issue. It's not mental health. It's a physical injury that has not been resolved. That's why it took me 1 hour in the chamber for me to wake up and start seeing colors again. It's not a mental health.
Talk about the chamber just a bit. How does it work? How did that clear your head?
Well, the science behind it, the way I understand it, it makes you think that your body is a minimum 7 to 9 feet underwater, depending on what pressure chamber you're using. And so now that means all the blood and oxygen can get through all the blockages and go everywhere. So you're really oxygenating all of your cells. And so that thing is a blessing for it. It's more than just for mental stuff. It's, you know, if you're dealing with cancer, you know, they put you in there. If you're dealing with Alzheimer's, they put you in there. If you're dealing with strokes, they put you in there to reverse. Yeah. So it is not this. It's been around since the 1800s, so it's not new stuff.
Really?
Yeah, it's been around forever.
Hyperbaric oxygen therapy has been around since the 1800s.
That's what they say. Absolutely.
Interesting. I've never known that. Never
Yeah.
have I known that. I thought it was interesting when you were talking about the military in Europe and how they bring people to do a dive underwater. And
Yes.
really what happens is the lower you go underwater, the pressure of the pressure from that, which is why it's called a hyperbaric oxygen chamber, because it's hyperbaric because it's compressing. So it's taking what is normally an oxygen molecule is normally a very large molecule, and it shrinks it down through that compression. And the smaller that molecule can get, the more areas it can get to. So with CTE, one of the things, or brain injury overall, one of the things that you're dealing with is inflammation in the brain. And it could be inflammation anywhere in your body. Like William said, hyperbaric oxygen therapy is works on a number of modalities, but that what it does is that when the oxygen molecule is so small, it can penetrate into areas it normally can't get to. And so it's sort of like cleaning out like the pipes, right?
Yeah.
Cleaning out the airways so that you can think clearly again, and then the inflammation starts again. And so you have to get a hold of that. Now, talk about your recovery center. What is your vision for the recovery center? How do you see it as a CTE recovery center?
Well, I want about 2 or 3, at least 3 chambers. That's what I'm shooting for. This company right now who's talking about me, they want to team up, and we're going to see if we can make it work or not. But they want to build me a 6-person chamber. So if they could build me a 6-person chamber, and if I'm open 8 hours a day, that's 48 people we can treat per day. You know, and so it's real simple. I want to send them through the same treatment that woke me up, the same treatment that woke up Joe Namath. And like I say, he's the leader of this movement because he started it. Without him, I didn't know anything about it. So I just try to give it credit where it's due. I'm not the guy who started this. There's many people doing it all around the country, but it's just so expensive. And I'm really just trying to cut that price. And because it's just think if you need, some people need to have 2 sessions a day for 30 days. So if you're paying $200 per hour per session, that's a lot of money for some people. They just can't afford that money up front. And then if you're like me, where I have to continue to use the machine, like I'm over 500 hours in here. So 500 times 200, man, I've already got my money's worth. So yeah, but this thing is priceless, and it's so simple. And I'm just thinking about all those soldiers who had the same symptoms as me, if they had gone through this treatment. Well, it's not a treatment, I'm sorry, it's a therapy. It's a therapy. Go through the therapy. And I'm pretty sure that they probably would have waken up just like me and the rest of the other people who are doing this. So I'm not the only one, guys. I'm not the only one. I'm just the only one that's trying to do it for free.
And yeah, it's certainly a modality that can help. There are hyperbaric oxygen chambers throughout the country. A lot of chiropractors and med spas might have them in their services. So if you have the funds, not everybody needs twice a day for 30 straight days, but some people do, right? And so one of the things that you want to offer is this free room and board where your center is going to be, so someone can stay for that whole extended time period, and then plus the chamber, plus the food that's going to take, because it's room and board and everything else, and plus the maintenance, and whatever to get them there. And so this GoFundMe that you've opened up is to fund all these things to help as many military veterans and anybody who's suffering from this as much as possible. So if you want help and you know that you can't afford the full treatment, donate to William's GoFundMe so that we can get this thing off the ground, because the whole point is as soon as he gets one chamber that is medical grade, right? So that it can handle the volume. He needs the medical grade. He has a personal chamber right now. It's not the same. to be able to do the volume and to be able to treat people as quickly. But once he has that, even that first chamber, he's going to open his doors. And it's really, really important. There are avenues for military veterans to get help with hyperbaric oxygen therapy in particular. Maybe a good Google search can help. There are some other organizations, but William is the one who's wanting to do it for free, and he's trying to do this. And this GoFundMe is the way. And it's really room and board and travel and everything complete, so that the veteran can heal.
Yeah, and there's people who've spoken to me like they want to invest, and I'm not taking outside money. This has to be, because if I take outside money, I'm going to have to pay that money back, which means I'm going to have to charge, and so that's what I don't want to do. This has to be a free service.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, people won't come. And matter of fact, I think our last 5 mass shootings were all related to CTE. If you do the homework, it was all CTE related. So we had a point in our country where, no matter where you go, whether it's kindergarten or to a concert, there's always a threat of being shot here now. So, and I believe it's all related to this. Never ever treating head injuries.
Well, with William, with that being said, I want to wrap this all up because I really, Veterans Day is coming up next week, Tuesday. And so, we want to say happy Veterans Day to all of those that have served.
Absolutely.
And if you have served, and if you feel that you have any symptoms or have any issues like this, please reach out for help, whether it be and if you feel it in your heart to help William with his trying to help all these people for free, please, if it's in your heart, go to this GoFundMe. It's GoFundMe 93FF9C6E. Again, for those that are listening to the audio version of it, GoFundMe /93FF9C6E. He's trying to raise money, and it's such a great cause. There are so many people that it could benefit from, and that's the beauty. Like, he's not just helping those that are athletes that maybe have funds, not just the military, but anybody that needs this help. That's what he's really trying to help, is anybody that needs this therapy. But yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of different organizations, or not organizations, but people that need this kind of help. Yes, there's military and people that we don't even think of, as we're talking about this. And I think this is going to be really unusual, but if you think about it, if you you were a kid and you went to an amusement park and you went on bumper cars, the thing that you wanted to do is you wanted to bump and hit people. And I'm thinking, like, maybe that caused some people to have brain trauma that we never recognized before, or go-karts when you crash, and all these little things that you can do that can happen to you that can give you this brain trauma that people don't know and realize. So this can happen to anybody. And I think that's one of my biggest takeaways. We talked and really talked about the military today because that's the focus with Veterans Day coming up. But it's not limited to veterans. It's not limited to bobsledders or NFL players. Like, one of the shooters played high school football, and that's where that happened, So, I mean, that's one of my biggest takeaways is it can happen from any different aspect, that we really have to think about that. And we really have to watch for signs in loved ones as well. They aren't going to recognize it necessarily.
All right, well, that does it for this edition of No Limits Candy. One more station break, Sports Exchange at the top of the hour. Want to get to that. Meanwhile, I want to thank Jennifer and William for being on. But guess what, William? You may be done talking about this, but you're not done talking about what you're going to get hit with then. What I'm going to hit is going to be worse than bumper cars and go-karts. And you'll definitely be, the Sports Exchange is my version of the amusement park, and then some. Go ahead, Sandy. Quick station break. Let's see what happens when I'm quiet. I absorb it all in. There you go. And Snoopy's even taking a nap here, by the way, on my watch.
Lessons from the microphone, tuning into the enduring wisdom of visionary leaders. It is written by our host, Scott, the Motor City Madmouth Morganroth. Talks about his 40 plus years in the media and how it has evolved and changed. Old school media versus new school media. Get your copy today. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. There's also a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com, where there is a plethora of great content, so go check it out. If you want to advertise or sponsor any one of our shows on the South Florida Tribune's network, please call Scott 954-304-4941. And if you want to be a guest or have topic ideas, you can do what Jennifer and William did. They contacted us, and look at what that developed into. A great segment and, numbers of shows where we're spreading the great word. So you can always email us at southfloridatribune@gmail.com. And then if you see that red subscribe button, click it, like us, share us. And, turn on your notifications so you're notified every time we go live. But again, if you feel in your heart that you want to help Mr. William in his valiant effort, GoFundMe 93FF9C6E. William, this was a great show. I mean, when I started in my career, I started working on in a VA hospital, and I saw lots of veterans, and near and dear to my heart, because let's face it, they laid all of it on the line for us. So I can walk around, I can do what I, want to do. So thank you for bringing that awareness to me, because I really didn't know it was as bad as it really is.
Oh, you're very welcome. Very welcome.
Well, we hope we've brought awareness to something that's very, very important. Can't disregard our veterans. One of these days, maybe I'll get my friend Steve Ballesteri on a show like this, who's a veteran as well. He actually covers the New England Patriots part-time, and he's been through it as well. We did a Veterans Day show with him on the network a long time ago. He's right now busy out in the Fort Myers area doing some other stuff, but I got other things I want to work with Steve. But meanwhile, that does conclude this edition of No Limits. On behalf of Candy Eveling, Jennifer Horspool, and William Person, my name is Scott Morgenroth, Motor City Madmouth. Thank you for joining us. Stephen Reichel joins the program. He'll be joining us twice a month here on No Limits to talk about this very subject. You want to talk about some energy, Mr. Reichel will give it to you and then some. So that does it. Sports Exchange coming up. Have a great week, and we will see you next week, everybody. Great job by all involved on this show. Jennifer, Candy, William. And it was just good for me to go out there and sit back and learn and continue to promote and incorporate where necessary. Take care, everybody. God bless, and we'll see you next Wednesday night, but hopefully sooner on the Sports Exchange at the top of the hour. Have a great week, everybody.
Thank you to all the veterans. Thank you.